Fam, good morning. It's Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining me today on my Sunday show. Today is Sunday, November 24th, following Alabama's embarrassing loss to Oklahoma. Going to go over a couple things from that game, and we are also going to talk about Alabama's remaining playoff chances. Obviously slim. But if you've woken up today after that nightmarish game and you've checked kind of your resources, whether it's your recruiting sites or ESPN or wherever you go, it seems that there's a glimmer of hope for Alabama to still make the playoffs. I know, you're like, playoffs? Well, we'll walk you through it. And the thing about last night on Saturday, November 23rd, was so many teams lost that could have had an opportunity to jump Alabama in the college football playoffs. Those teams lost. So let's start right here with Alabama's loss to Oklahoma. We talked about it yesterday. I've had a few hours to sleep, try to sleep that game off, but that is going to be a game that you don't sleep off. And the reason is because they were absolutely dominated by Oklahoma. Listening to Brent Venables yesterday in the post-game press conference, talk about that the fact that they knocked Alabama out. He didn't mean it in the playoff terms. He meant it in a physical form. What Oklahoma did yesterday to Alabama, you haven't seen that in quite some time. It's not often that happens, right? They were more physical than Alabama from the jump. You could tell their players were flying around. They were getting to the football. They were, of course, getting to Jalen Milroe. They were making great tackles, and they were punishing Alabama by running the football. They were 100 million% the more physical team. They wanted it more. They had more pride in performance yesterday, and Brent Venables out-coached Kalen DeBoer. Good coach. And a coach that I think knew with 2 weeks to prep for Alabama. I mean, if me, a YouTuber, understands that Alabama's offense is predicated just on the production of Jalen Milroe, and you have a really good defense, I'll tell you what, that defense was fantastic for Oklahoma. They were playing lights out. They were fast. They were everywhere. And they were more physical, and it comes down to who wants it more and who can execute better, and that was Oklahoma. Carter brings up a good point inside the comment box, and I think that probably resonates with a lot of people how they're feeling this morning, saying, I'm not mad at that we lost. I'm just disappointed at how we lost. And that's the thing. I think being a competitor, you lose. Going on the road in the SEC, whenever, it's difficult. It's challenging. A lot of different elements, SEC stadiums. You lose by like a last-second field goal. It's frustrating. It takes some time to get over it. But last night, Alabama was punished. They were literally beaten up and down the field. On each side of the ball, even in special teams. And when you have a game where you are beaten in those three areas, that is, of course, on the players, but that is, of course, on the coach for not having you prepared for that Saturday. You look at some of the stats right here. I mean, the glaring thing from the jump, like when this game just started, was the fact that Oklahoma ran the football down Alabama's throat. And if you jump to my point down here about Kane Womack can't stop that Vanderbilt playbook, it was very similar to what Vanderbilt did several weeks ago, right? Controlling the time of possession, which Oklahoma did. You know, Vanderbilt had the football 42 minutes. Oklahoma had the football 34 minutes. I haven't seen in a long time a team run the football like that against Alabama. Jackson Arnold ran the football as a quarterback 25 times for 131 yards. Unacceptable. Xavier Robinson ran the football 18 times for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unacceptable. In total, Oklahoma ran the football 50 times for 257 yards, and they averaged in those 50 carries 5.1 yards per carry. Not it. That is not championship level football. That is not playoff level football. If somehow Alabama makes the playoffs, we're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes, I'm running the exact same game plan that Oklahoma Vanderbilt ran. I think the Tennessee game was a little bit different than Oklahoma and I think Oklahoma and Vanderbilt are very similar losses. Tennessee made some great adjustments in that second half. Vanderbilt beat Alabama up and down the field for 4 quarters, and so did Oklahoma. Each of those teams, what do they have in common? At that point when they played those two teams, they were unranked. I don't know. I haven't read too much this morning. I briefly looked at kind of some playoff implications. I haven't even seen this yet. But for whatever reason, Coach DeBoer seems to fly under the radar in terms of taking responsibility for how his team plays. Even in the press conference, he doesn't really take accountability, in my opinion. It would have been nice to see him at the podium just really step up and say, yo, this is on me. We got our asses kicked last night by Brent Venables and his team. They did a better job preparing than we did. Plain and simple, we lost on the road. I take accountability. I have a hard time coaching on the road in the SEC. It was my decision to keep Jalen Milroe in when he was struggling. This is on me. I am the coach of this team. I am the leader of this team, and I failed this team last night by not having them prepared to play on the road in Norman. I let these guys believe in the rat poison. He didn't talk about any of that. He doesn't take any type of accountability. And I will probably take flack on that because his approval rating is high, but you will see what happens. Like, this is not the standard. You need somebody here with a solid backbone to lead this program. When you have all these alphas and these future NFL players, you need somebody to set the tone with these guys. You need somebody who is absolutely like the patriarch of this team. Coach Saban didn't play around, period. And I'm not saying that Coach DeBoer is not the guy, because honestly, I think, coaching-wise, the season hasn't even ended. But there's a lot of things culture-wise and coaching-wise that I currently don't agree with. Coaching staff just got here. I don't buy the whole it's his first year. Look at the talent that you have on the team. You can't go to the injuries. Oklahoma had 4 times as many injuries as Alabama. Alabama hasn't had significant injuries compared to the SEC, I promise you. Look at the injury report. So don't blame it on the injuries. Don't blame it on the first year. It's schematics. It's not being ready to be able to coach in the SEC or trying to find your way in the SEC. People keep saying, well, he won all these other places. Yeah, he won all these other places, but that's not SEC football. This is a Shark Tank. Look at the coaches. 1-3 on the road in SEC play. Carter is saying the offensive coordinator sucks. I told you this before. I said that Alabama's offense, I even have a graphic that shows it, that I showcased last week. Alabama's offense is predicated on Jalen Milroe. That's it. He leads the team in rushing attempts, clearly passing attempts. He has the most rushing touchdowns. He's obviously thrown the most touchdowns as well. If I know this as a YouTuber, if I'm playing Alabama, I I stop Milroe. However, if you stop him running, then I send pressure at him. You know what was really sad? Well, this was like heartbreaking, is when Alabama is getting their ass kicked at the back end of the game and they run like a flea flicker, like desperation. Oh my goodness, that was pitiful. That was embarrassing. That's like below the standard of Alabama football. Now, there has been times where we've seen Nick Sheridan, make some play calls, but in terms of everything, this season, it's kind of been up and down and more down than up. Nick Sheridan does not use the running backs. I thought coming in this season the running backs would be fed. They are not. It was interesting. Last night there was a series where Jan Miller picked up 8. Jan Miller picked up 8. Jan Miller picked up 2. And I think for whatever reason, this team thinks that if the running back doesn't get more than 2 yards, that it's not working. Sometimes it's just like, you got to pound the ball. And they want to run Jalen Milroe with design quarterback runs. And if the defense is stopping the run, then they're going to send pressure. And Alabama's offensive line, I'm not letting you off the hook either, has been struggling all season long. The right side of the ball, oh my goodness. Yikes. I know. Look, and I keep saying that the running backs don't get fed. They don't. Justice Haynes had 3 carries. 3. Jan Miller had 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. That's how many carries Jalen Milroe had by himself. The design quarterback runs, this team wants to run the football with Jalen Milroe, period. And they want to hit you with the haymaker to Ryan Williams over the top. That's the offense. Sometimes it works. 3 times it didn't. Yeah, Carlos is like, you called for Jalen Milroe design runs. Yeah, we did, but not the whole time. All right, where am I? All right, Nick Sheridan in over his head. Do you agree, undefeated? Do you feel, or is this like an emotional reaction this morning? Do you feel that Nick Sheridan is in over his head? Like this is a little bit too much for him right now at this point in time? Yes or no? This could be a hot take, but I actually think that he's a better offensive coordinator than Tommy Rees, and probably even better than Bill O'Brien. But he's still just not there yet. That's why I don't understand kind of some of the arrogance that he kind of seems to have in the press conferences. I don't know. So yes or no, do you think that Nick Sheridan's in over his head at the OC position? But like I just said, I think he's better than Tommy Rees and Bill O'Brien. And nobody talks about this anymore, but I'm going to bring this up. Nick Sheridan is no Ryan Grubb. I have no idea what Ryan Grubb is doing right now with the Seahawks. But I know that when Ryan Grubb was going to come over here, people were dancing in the street because they knew that his offense was kind of like a kind of a next level, right? And so much so that even Coach Saban wanted Ryan Grubb, right, the year before, and that didn't work out. So you lose Ryan Grubb, and Nick Sheridan goes from. I think that really hurt, and we don't really talk about that in hindsight. But I think, would you guys agree with that? That losing Ryan Grubb was probably, lowered the capabilities of this offense. For whatever reason, we don't really talk about that, but I think those are absolute facts. KGU, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. He says, Kyle, it's time for Milroe to go. I can't no more. He has his highs, but when he has his lows, oh my God, we're pretty much no talent at the wide receiver position and can't get the ball. you know what? And I get it. And I do appreciate the feedback inside the comment box because I have been a Jalen Milroe guy. And I do like him from a personality standpoint. Like, I think there's players at the college football level that don't have that same leadership. Like, Jalen Milroe is the furthest thing from like a turd as a person. He is a good person. So when I am negative about Jalen Milroe, don't think that like I don't like him. I don't even know him. Okay. And I've been adamant about Jalen Milroe and excited about what he could do at this season. But the way that he is utilized in this offense and how he has been struggling he struggled against South Carolina, he struggled against Tennessee, he struggled against Missouri. I don't think he threw a touchdown. And then last night was pretty much like a straight nosedive. Somebody said inside the comment box that one of the interceptions wasn't his fault. I don't know about that. The second interception, that was terrible. And it's up to the coaches to be able to make changes, but they won't. Kalen DeBoer has decided to roll with Jalen Milroe until the wheels fall off, and the wheels have pretty much fallen off. And like I said before, if you stop Milroe, you stop Alabama's offense. Oh, Mary Faith, 100%. There was nobody asked tough questions to Coach Kalen DeBoer at all. 100%. Lisa's in here saying it's everyone's fault. Good morning, Lisa. I appreciate you being here. And I don't know. I think that there will not be a change at quarterback, period. Like, DeBoer's guy is Jalen Milroe. Milroe finishes the season, and that's it. Ty came in for one play and goes out. And maybe Ty Simpson is not the guy. Maybe Alabama has a quarterback problem. That's why they're desperately waiting for Keelan Russell to get here. I don't know. But if Ty Simpson was the guy and I'll take some calls here in a few. But Milroe right now is in a bad spot, and so much so that he cost the team in the second half. Now, there's a lot of pointing fingers in a game like this, but yeah, Milroe, there is a lot of responsibility on his poor decision-making in the second half. All right, we have enough people here real quick. Let me get to that second to last comment. Is Alabama still in the playoffs? Now, this is going to be interesting. I put a little bit of time into this, not so much so, but I have a graphic that will kind of paint the picture about the playoffs, okay? So what I'd like for you guys right now to do is I'm going to ask you, do you think that Alabama is still in the playoffs? Type Y for yes, like a glimmer of hope, and type N for absolutely not. So yes for inside the playoffs, no for no. Corey, what's up? I see you. And the thing about Alabama, too, before I show this next graphic, is they don't use their weapons. Like, is Kendrick Law still even on the team? I'm serious. That's why Caleb Odom is pissed off. Justice and Jam, those are such good people that they would never throw their team under the bus, but you guarantee you those guys are frustrated. A lot of that, too. You wonder if, like, these guys catch the football at the beginning of the game, if that kind of moves the chains a little bit more, gets the team into a rhythm. And yes, but before I show this playoff graphic, Alabama got robbed a touchdown. Now, that touchdown makes it 24-10 at that point. Maybe it provides some momentum. Maybe Alabama comes out and gets a third down. But who are we kidding? The way that Oklahoma was running the ball down Alabama's throat. What were you stopping Oklahoma? I think they had one stop later in the game. Other than that, dude, Oklahoma they were more physical and just ran the football right down Alabama's throat again and again and again. CJ with 2 drops? I had Ryan Williams with 1. All right, so look, I don't know what the playoffs are going to look like. And right now, the way that the playoffs, like, I'm a big person, like, what have you done for me lately? I always talk about that with the playoffs. So right now, if the players were to start today, Alabama's out of the playoffs. They're out. There's another game left against Auburn, and a lot of things can change. And in this graphic I'm going to show you next, you're going to see why Alabama still has a shot, and I'll walk you through it. All right. Talking college football playoffs. On the left is 1 through 12, how I put it together. And then on the right are teams that are kind of next in line and that also lost, okay? So let me just read you something real quick, and I'll start on the left. Oregon, you got to think, sure shot, Big Ten. Even if they win or lose, they're 100% in. Ohio State, same thing, right, after beating Indiana. Texas right now, we have them favored to win the SEC championship. By the way, they've been playing recently. It looks like that's them, right? And you have them taking on Georgia in the SEC title game. Penn State, look, they're not going to be penalized for barely beating Minnesota because they won the game. Then you have Notre Dame with the loophole that they found out. If you play service teams and you just win games, you're in. Miami, right now, is the ACC number 1. Good win over Wake Forest, at least for them. Georgia, SEC number 2. Who knows? Maybe they beat Texas. Point is, they're in. Tennessee, they have a head-to-head over Alabama. Beat UTEP yesterday. They have a tough remaining game against Vanderbilt. They win that game, they'll be ahead of Alabama. Indiana, only one loss. They take on Purdue next. You got to think, if they beat Purdue, they finish the season 11-1. They're in. Boise State, they were tied with Wyoming last night in Mountain West to play. Able to win that game. You got to take a group of 5. By the rules, you have to take a group of 5, okay? Arizona State, these guys beat BYU, okay? It looks like they are now the front runner in the Big 12. Right? So there's kind of your 11. Now we get to this 12 spot. Is it going to be the ACC runner-up? Whoever that is that going to be Clemson? Is that going to be SMU? I have no idea. Is it going to be Miami? Or is it going to be one of these teams on the right? Now, everyone's saying, and I listened to Shannon Sharp's YouTube channel this morning. I like him. I like different takes. I don't often listen to different takes because I don't want that to seep into my own mind, but I listened to it this morning. So what they were hitting on is the fact that Alabama has 2 losses against unranked opponents, right? And so I was like, what I'm going to do is kind of go through the large teams. So I'm talking about the teams from SMU all the way to ASU, right? And who have they lost to, this and that? Well, here we go. I mean, Alabama will start up top with the SMU. Currently, they are going to play for the SEC title if they win their next game, right? I think they might have clinched yesterday. And Miami can clinch as well if they beat Syracuse, which I have no idea. Miami versus Syracuse seems like it could go either way to me, right? Now you have Alabama, and people are like, well, they had 2 losses against 2 unranked teams. Well, so do these other teams. And how you look at this is you look to where the team was ranked when the 2 teams played. So a good place, if you want to do this on your own, type the team and type in ESPN college football, and it'll list where the teams are ranked when the 2 teams played. So let me just start here. Alabama, they have 3 losses. Vanderbilt, who was unranked at that time when Alabama was ranked number 1 in the country, they lost that game. Lost to, at the time, number 11 Tennessee, and lost to unranked Oklahoma. That's 3 losses, 2 to unranked. Here with Ole Miss, okay? And Alabama is still ahead of Ole Miss in the SEC standings. 3 losses. They lost to unranked Kentucky. They lost to number 13 at the time, LSU, and they lost to unranked Florida. Okay? You going to put Ole Miss over Alabama? Can't. How about BYU? Well, BYU has 2 losses in a row, and I don't even know if they're going to make the Big 12 championship. Right now, I think there's a tie. Keep your eye on BYU. Okay? Texas A&M, you're going to take them? Well, they have 3 losses, right? They lost to number 7 Notre Dame. They lost to unranked at the time South Carolina and lost to unranked Auburn in overtime. You going to take them over Bama? Okay. How about Colorado? You going to take Colorado? Well, they have 3 losses. 1 against unranked Nebraska and 1 against unranked Kansas, and they beat number 18 Kansas State. You going to take Colorado over Alabama? Clemson could be interesting, okay? Clemson could be interesting. They have 2 losses right now, one to Georgia and one to Louisville, who is unranked. Right now, kind of that ACC at-large team. Now, they could make the ACC championship game if Miami does lose to Syracuse. You're going to take South Carolina over Alabama? Well, they have 3 losses to all ranked teams. They lost to number 16 LSU, number 12 Ole Miss, number 7 Bama. But remember, Bama beat South Carolina head-to-head. You see what I'm saying? Like, as you start to walk through the teams that you could put in over Alabama in the playoffs, now, the short answer is Auburn comes to Alabama, beats Alabama, and you're in the, I don't know, whatever bowl. You're in the New Mexico Bowl. Let me finish out, and I'll take your calls. No, Army, they don't deserve. They're what? They're not number 19. They're out. Tulane has 2 losses to Kansas State and Oklahoma, and Arizona State would be the Big 12 champ should they win out. So I don't know. So looking at which teams could leapfrog Alabama if Alabama beats Auburn, here you go. I mean, there is a possibility. There is a chance. But last night, Auburn, they beat Texas A&M, and I guarantee you that this Auburn team 1,000,000% thinks that they can beat Alabama. There is no, like this Alabama team. No. Like this Auburn team is like, we are coming to Tuscaloosa and we are going to beat these dudes into the dirt. What's up, Rude Boy? I appreciate you being here. Good morning to you. All right, let's take some calls. I want to talk with you guys. And when you call in, mind that somebody's probably calling behind you. So make your point. And listen, it's your show. Like have at it. Obviously, don't say anything that is like way, over the line. I'll cut you off. And what I mean by that is like, major F-bombs or like, you know what to do. But like it's your show. So like have at it. Like get it off your chest. All right. 251. Let's do it. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, man. It's Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert? Good morning to you. I appreciate you calling in. Robert from Mobile. Take it away.
Hey, yeah, it's to grade DeBoer's first season. It's a D minus. It's a D plus. Mm-hmm. I mean, you do have to win over Georgia, and we'll have a winning season, but you have 2 of the most embarrassing losses in the history of Alabama football on your resume right now, too. Mm-hmm. And there's just no getting around that. It's the coaching staff is not showing themselves to be very competent in big games, and it's just been, big games, but on the road. And all losses have been on the road. But on the road, they just can't. They can't make adjustments. They just can't seem to handle the road. Mm-hmm. That's part of what you have to do. And right now, the staff cannot handle the road environment in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And guess what? That's how the side's going to be going forward. They haven't shown they can handle that. Milroe is definitely. I mean, he struggles when his down games are just way down, he can't get himself back right again. And especially on the road, it's hit and miss with him. If he's on, I think Alabama's the best team in college football. If he's hitting, but when he's missing, again, we can't beat Vanderbilt or a mediocre Oklahoma team. Mm-hmm. That's how low it can get, and therein lies our problem. It's so tough to realize in a 12-team playoff where there's 12 teams, Alabama can't be one of them.
Yeah.
That was just been unheard of, in the Saban era. But now it's a reality. 12 teams, and we can't even be one of them. Maybe the playoff at this point we can't run this. We can't run the schedule. We can't run through a playoff. Either we made the championship game, which I doubt we make that. I doubt we can win that either. I mean, that's a road game, but he can't play in a road environment where it's 50-50 Alabama. He does seem to do that well. Mm-hmm. But that was with Saban's staff. We don't know about this staff. They don't seem to make adjustments. and they don't seem to. They don't have the answers right now, and they don't seem to be able to get the answers this season. I mean, it's a year one, so I mean, it's not a good season. It's his first grade as the Alabama head coach. It's not a good grade, but neither was Nick Saban. Because Nick Saban didn't inherit a bunch of 5-stars either.
Yep.
So that's huge. You got way more 5-stars than Nick Saban had when he first took this team over. So it's a work. I mean, you can't give any coach one season and they're done. It's, it hasn't been that bad a season where you won and done, but it's, this season's been a failure as far as what we're used to in Alabama. For the Alabama standard, this is a failure. And many other teams, hey, they're okay with 8-3, 9-3, a bowl game, but that's not the Alabama standard. So it's been D-. It hasn't been a failure because you do have a Georgia, and it's a winning record. That game yesterday was an F, and all their losses were Fs, and that's what really kills it. All the losses were just. If they played a B game, they could still win that against Oklahoma. But you can't beat anybody with your F game. And that's what they tend to. It's either they just seem to come to the season with with these kind of games with effort, and that's what really hurting us. Is the effort seems to be almost non-existent, and it's disappointing. Going forward, like I said, maybe Ty Simpson's not the answer. We're going to have to make a decision on the quarterback position going forward. If for some reason Milroe decides to want to come back, it should be a really wide open competition with everybody having a real chance. We know that wasn't the case coming in this season. They said it, but it really wasn't the case. We knew it was Milroe's job to lose. All right, next season going in, if Milroe comes back, it ain't your job to lose. It's your job to gain. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have some great play to gain it back again.
Yeah.
It should be wide open next year as far as quarterback.
100%.
Yeah, it's disappointing, man.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate you. Good morning to you. Thanks. Good call from Robert down in Mobile, talking about DeBoer's first year and clearly, adding what we saw last night just wasn't it. And I think about it is like when you talk about the quarterback position here at Alabama, and everyone's like, "Well, put in Ty." Obviously, Ty has had 3 years to be here to get on the field. You can't be on the field, and maybe there's a bigger reason than we don't know. I don't know, but Milroe is not going to be subbed out. Period. This is Milroe's team. 256 are up. Hey, good morning to you. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Bama Probs calling in from Huntsville, Alabama.
Hey, what's up, Bama Probs? I appreciate you joining in. All right, take it away, man.
All right. Well, first I'm going to start with a question I'm going to ask you. Do you think that next year when Ty Simpson comes in or Austin Mack, do you think that Alabama's offense is going to run better with Ty or Austin Mack or worse?
I would say better. Because here's my thing with that. I think that it's a better offense. I mean, clearly you're losing a very dynamic quarterback in Jalen Milroe and everything that he's capable to do. But you're not clearly one-dimensional with just what is Jalen Milroe going to do, and that's going to be the success of how we win the game. I would imagine whoever starts at quarterback next year is able to distribute the football, which creates Alabama to be a more balanced team, utilizing different weapons, different components, getting the football out to a lot of different people. There's been times where Jalen Milroe has done that. For example, against Georgia, I think there was 8 or 10 different receivers that caught the football. But this team is just predicated on solely Jalen Milroe, and I think it does handicap the team against teams that do have a good defense. For example, Tennessee's defense, top 10. Last night, Oklahoma's defense, they were fantastic. So, I would imagine that with a different quarterback that can, maybe that quarterback doesn't even have the same athleticism as Milroe, and hard to duplicate that, right? But you're able to use more weapons, which keeps the defense a little bit more off balance.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's the worst. As an Alabama fan, I've been watching since I can remember at 7, and this is the worst I've ever watched. This is worse than the championship game against Clemson. I mean, that Clemson team was elite. Oklahoma was 500. They didn't even clinch a bowl game until they beat us. So, man, I never would have thought we would have lost by 21 to Oklahoma out of all teams. But, I'm trying to remember something, but I can't remember it. But like Milroe played his worst game though, and honestly, I think Ty Simpson he runs better than the Alabama offense than Milroe. I just think because it's Milroe's last year, he's starting, and But see, Ty Simpson's like a pocket passer. He's kind of like Michael Penix, and we saw Michael Penix in Washington in 2 years. So if Ty Simpson can replicate that, I think Alabama's offense going to be very successful. And I hate to say this as an Alabama fan, but Alabama is a mid-team with elite talent. And Alabama has studs all over the field. We don't use them. Like Jalen Miller, Justice Hayes. I was so excited for this season because I thought they were going to feast. But our running back, Jalen Milroe. And we keep doing these quarterback zones, quarterback runs, and they're getting 1 or 2 yards. And Nick Sheridan keeps calling the same plays.
Yeah.
And Kyle, if you go back to my YouTube channel, if you go to my community post, and I shared this thing. I said I called it 10 months ago. And 10 months ago, it was like, Caleb DeBoer, who are you hiring? The defense is looking mid, all of that. But like back to like the studs, Alabama studs all over the field. Jam Miller, Justice Hayes, they don't use him. Kendrick Law, he's blocking for Jalen Milroe. That's all he's doing. And Kendrick Law has so much potential, Ryan Williams, of course, that's pretty much the only guy they really utilize. Sometimes we use Bernard. But, I mean, this Alabama receivers, they're going to have to utilize more. I think they're going to way more utilized since Jalen Milroe's leaving. And, I'm a big Jalen Milroe guy. I don't hate on Milroe. But, I mean, I don't know. This season, I feel like I feel like he might have gotten worse this season from last season. And that's no knock on Milroe. It's just the truth. Look at his stats last night, 11 for 26, 3 interceptions. I mean, that's never even going to have you compete in a football game.
Yeah.
And it showed, last night. The interceptions were pretty much all his fault. The third one, he got sacked and the ball was in the air, but the game was already over.
Sure.
The first one was a horrible.
I would say it's like this. The first one is like 50% Milroe and 50% Nick Sheridan. That was a stupid play call. I don't like it. Bad decision by Milroe. The second one was 1,010% on Jalen Milroe. And why are you even throwing it to Robbie Oots? I love Robbie Oots just as much as anybody else. But when it's turbo mode and you're getting beat like that, like it's time to go to the heavy hitters, okay? And then the third one, I would say it's on Jalen Milroe for not getting the ball out fast enough, and 50% on Elijah Pritchett for once again being beaten on the outside at the right tackle position. So there's your 3 interceptions. I
totally agree.
Right? I mean, but yeah, the second one, and what was crazy is Milroe on that second interception when the guy's running for a touchdown, why did he kind of dive into the dirt or whatever? I didn't understand that. So anything else that you want to, do you want to hit on anything else, man, before we move on?
Yes, sir. I mean, Alabama, going into halftime, Alabama's lucky to compete with Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they'll run the ball over us. Oklahoma only had, if you go to the box, or Jackson Arnold, he only had 70 passing yards. Before the game last night, you told me Jackson Arnold would have 70 passing yards. I would have thought Alabama would have won 24-3. Yeah. But they lost 24-3. And this is Kane Womack's problem. When we go against running defenses like Vanderbilt, we struggle mightily with Vanderbilt, mightily with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Who else did we lose to? Oklahoma, of course. They ran the ball over us. South Florida, I mean, I don't know if you remember that game, but week 2, they had a little success running the ball. So, Kane Womack either needs to get his stuff together or he needs to get fired. I understand his first year in the system, but I don't think he's the guy. He was great at South Alabama, but this is Alabama. This is not the Sun Belt. This is the SEC. It's the hardest conference of football. And if you're going to do the things you did at South Alabama and you think it's going to work in Bama, then you're just not there. He's not the defensive coordinator. I don't know why we don't bring back Jeremy Pruitt. I seriously don't know why. He was an elite coordinator for Saban. I know Saban isn't there, but I mean, Pruitt, ain't he like a PE teacher at some high school near Alabama?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's more to it with why Jeremy Pruitt can't be here or whatever, but I don't know if that's the case. But good call, man. I appreciate you chiming in, Bam Props. Take it easy, man.
All right, see you. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you. You know what? Someone just asked a damn good SZP. SH inside the comment box. Kyle, would you say that Milroe is the worst starting quarterback for Bama since you've been a fan here? That's a damn good question. So I moved here to Tuscaloosa at the end of 2016. Okay, this is a great question. If we're ranking the quarterbacks, and I know it's a day off, so things are really hot right now in terms of the dislike for Milroe and all this stuff. 919-773 and 607. You're up next. But the quarterbacks that I've covered, I think, are all better than Milroe. The thing is, Jalen Hurts, he transformed into a better quarterback once he left Alabama. Because when he was here at Alabama, I think Jalen Hurts, Jalen Milroe, that would be an interesting comparison to who you thought inside the comment box was a better quarterback, right? Jalen Hurts got better when he went to Oklahoma. And then, you see what he's doing for the Eagles. Whether you think he's doing a good job or not, if he's on your fantasy football team, you're hella happy because the dude's getting like 25, 30 points, right? But yeah, I would rank Jalen at the bottom right now. I think Jalen Milroe at the bottom. Tua, when Tua was healthy, man, it was crazy. Like his deep ball and his efficiency on these crossing routes, these slants, his RPOs it was filthy, right? Plus he had the weapons. Mac Jones, nobody really talks about him, but his passing efficiency was like 78%, and he probably led one of the best teams I've ever seen, that 2020 team. Bryce Young, his skill set, very dynamic, right? In terms of what he could do. You could not hit him. The guy made big throws, and once Bryce Young's arm strength got stronger, man, he got even better. And he had some weapons, not as talented as Tua and Mac, but Bryce Young absolutely had some weapons. So I'd probably go like Tua, Bryce or Mac, Jalen Hurts or Jalen Milroe as like kind of a draw, or Hurts. I don't know. I think Milroe might be a little bit better than Jalen Hurts. All right, 919. Hey, what's going on? You're on line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on line with? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's up, Kyle? I'm calling in from Tampa. This is G.
All right, G, calling in from Tampa. What's up, man? I appreciate you. Good morning to you. Go ahead, G.
Good morning, man. Hey, man, that game last night, man, I turned it off, man. I was so upset about the game. But it's the same problems that I figured Alabama was going to have before the season even started. One, I'm going to start off with the defense. Alabama, when you run a 4-2-5 defense, you have to have a good front four to be able to stop the run. Alabama, I knew that was going to be a concern because we don't really have good D linemen. We lost D lineman depth like Jaheim Otis. He ended up ending in the transfer portal. A lot of people kind of brushed that off, but that was D-line depth that we needed. Also a big body. So as far as the defensive line, because we were so concerned about the secondary because the secondary was young, but we didn't have everything together when it came to our defensive linemen. If you look at Alabama history, when Nick Saban was there, we had the best D-linemen. A lot of those guys are in the NFL. I can name at least 7 D linemen that's in the league right now that's playing at a high level. So D-line depth was a big thing, and I don't even see us doing good in recruiting D linemen right now. So I think that's going to be a problem, especially when you run a 4-2-5 defense. The other guy that just got dismissed from the team that entered the transfer portal, Keanu, I think that's how you say his name.
Keanu. Keanu Coat. Go ahead.
That's more D lineman depth that we lost. So we losing a lot of depth on the D line, and it's hard for Alabama to stop the run. And you absolutely right. Oklahoma came in with the same game plan Vanderbilt had. They was running shovel passes because they knew Alabama had a hard time stopping those things. So they ran the same exact offense, and it was the same exact result. Alabama could not stop the run whatsoever. And then on the offensive end of the ball, is no creativity at all. It's run the ball with Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, as well as some of those running plays, he should have handed it off to the running back. I think he tried to play hero football yesterday. It was a couple different plays where I seen him have a running lane and then try to bounce it out instead of going with the running lane where his blockers was. That was terrible. As well as handing off the ball. So we have two good running backs, but they have low usage rates. We got running backs leaving out of the backfield to go be a receiver. Like that's not Justin Haynes' strength or
Jan Miller.
That's not Justin Haynes or Jan Miller's strength at all. They need to hand them off the football. So it's just no creativity, one-dimensional. And another thing that I think will help Alabama offense if they run a hurry-up offense sometimes. Yesterday we got down. It was no sense of urgency. It was no hurry-up offense. Let's catch these guys off guard. Let's not let them get their defense set. Let's do a whole drive. And I know they practice it because every team practices a hurry-up offense. So no hurry-up offense. We just going to run the football with Jalen Milroe and think we're going to get by with that. That's not going to work, especially when the team has 2 weeks to prepare for you. It just didn't work. So I hope that they fix those problems. Now, as far as them making the playoffs, I think it'll be hard for them to make the playoffs. It still could happen with the way college football is going and teams losing. But, yeah, they got to fix a lot of things, man.
Yeah. All right, G. I appreciate you calling in, man. Thanks for chiming in from Tampa.
Yeah. All right, brother. Roll time.
All right, roll time. Man, we have such a strong fan base that calls in from Tampa or St. Pete's. That's why I was so worried about that hurricane. Clearly because it's a hurricane, but I love that area. I've been very open about that. I love that area. I love going down to St. Pete's whenever I have an opportunity to. I've stayed one time at the Don Cesar. And the last time I was in Tampa, I for breakfast, I had a little Cubano sandwich with a little Cuban coffee. Yo, that's like living. Have you had one of these little Cubano sandwiches? When I start talking about food, that means I'm starting to get hungry, all right? I didn't eat breakfast. Honestly, I just rolled out of bed, cleaned up a little bit, and just hopped on the show. I knew you guys wanted to vent, so here we are. All right, 773, you're up. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with. Where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is me, Mike from Chicago.
Mike, what's up, man? I appreciate you joining. Welcome in.
Hey, yeah. I would like to just say, when we're doing all these comparisons about Milroe and we're dropping the whole world on Milroe, and, we compare it in a vacuum. Mac Jones, Tua, they had Sark. Sark is probably top 5 coordinators of all time. I mean, you have to look at the coordinators that Loxley was there. You had guys that had Lane Kiffin. Nick Sheridan is not a renowned OC. Tommy Reese is not a renowned OC. I mean, so when we sit up here and we dropping everything on Milroe, I mean, he's running the ball too much. Okay, the OC then needs to stop him from running the ball. I mean, when we talk about the Tennessee game and how bad it was, and he threw, I think, to Ryan 14 times or something like that. That falls on the OC to say, hey, we're going here. Sark schemes people open. It ain't just, okay, go down there, run down the field and get open. Sark runs plays that schemes people open. I think the defensive coordinator is over his head. Is Milroe, can he get better? Yes, there's things that he definitely should be getting better. But these are calls. I mean, a quarterback run and a quarterback throw, that's a call. That's not something that Milroe says, okay, hey, I know they called this pass, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if that is the case, again, it falls on the OC to say, get him out of there. We're all clamoring. I mean, you have these people that's clamoring for Ty Simpson. Why? Based on what? Give me any instance of a game, of something. Yeah. We're clamoring for Ty Simpson on a mystery that he is supposed to be good on some kind of mystery. We put him in a USF game. We barely lost. Put Milroe back in. He went on a 10-game win streak. I understand that he can be better, but again, I lay a lot of this on the OC, putting him in a better position. We have E-Man, we have not used. We have K-Law, we have not used. We have Miller, we have Haynes. We have so many players that are not being utilized. So when you make yourself one-dimensional, Venables is a CFP champion defensive coordinator. Venables is one of the top coordinators in college. He's going to scheme something to stop you. You have to be able to have counters. there is no counters. If there's no count, as I say, I put a lot of it on the coordinators, both the OC and the DC. And then if you're going to put it on the OC DC, that means it falls on DeBoer, since he is the man that is supposed to actually run this team. So, I mean, I just think that those guys have been over their head this year. It could get better, and I think it's going to get better. But the two coordinators, it's over their head. It is proven in the games. It is over their head. And who we played last night was Venables is a premier defensive coordinator. So when we start, and I just want to say, when we just start comparing Milroe to these other quarterbacks, understand who those other quarterbacks had. Sark, he's a coordinator. I mean, Mac Jones, he went to the NFL. They feel he's a bust, but hey, he threw for like 4,000 or 5,000 yards when he's here because he had Sark that was calling plays for him. You have Lane Kiffin that was calling plays for Hurts and Coker. Does anybody think Coker is one of the great quarterbacks? But he won a national championship under Kiffin. Loxley. So as I said, I think, as you say, it's always that day after the loss that we dump on Milroe. But I just think we need to look at it in perspective and understand that, hey, a lot of this falls on having alternatives. And as I said, I've named 5 players who are, pretty good talent. We were clamoring for K-Law, right? I mean, everybody's thought K-Law was going to have this big season. He's this 400-pound bencher. He runs 25 miles an hour. We barely seen him. No jet. We screamed for jet sweeps with Tommy Reese. Somehow or another, we thought we were going to get him. Haven't seen him. No screens. No nothing. Did he even play yesterday? I don't. One-dimensional.
That's what I was. That's what I was wondering. I don't think Kendrick Law played yesterday. I mean, I don't know. That's really good on with Mike from Chicago. By the way, good takes. I put in here.
Yeah, go ahead. Have a good one. Thanks a lot.
All right, take it easy, Mike. All right, Mike calling in from Chicago. Really good take. His point is talking about the offensive coordinator and how it sets up Alabama and the quarterbacks for success or lack thereof. I put up, you're right. I mean, think about the difference between Steve Sarkisian and Nick Sheridan. I put Steve Sarkisian, then Lane, then Brian DeBoer. I don't know who's better, Nick Sheridan or Tommy Reese, or then Bill O'Brien. I don't know. It gets a little. You start to look at the trajectory of the OC after that, right? And where would have Ryan Grubb been in that conversation? That's always going to be a hypothetical. KTK seeing K-Log did play. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I didn't see him play. I guess he didn't record any stats. He's going to be like. He's kind of almost like the offensive Ben Davis. Remember when we kept on saying, Ben Davis is going to do something, Ben Davis is going to do something, and he never did anything. But I think Kendrick Law is talented. I just think that they don't utilize him. Whereas, Ben Davis, I think, All right, we go back to the phone lines. And somebody asked about the playoffs. I put together this graphic. This is how I have it right here on the left. And compared to the teams that, you could maybe put at that number 12 spot, Alabama, plain and simple, has to beat Auburn. And, things are going to happen in terms of the shuffling. But I still have Alabama, I think, as the, 4th team in college football, in the SEC, I mean. Because they're going to be ahead of Ole Miss. They're going to be ahead of Texas A&M. They're ahead of South Carolina. So I think there's like a glimmer of hope. John's like, playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs? 607. Let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're online with Kyle Henderson. Who am I online with? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, good morning, Kyle. This is Bob. I'm from Gulfport.
Rob, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in from Gulfport. Come with it, man.
All right. Thank you for the show. I'm still in shock from last night.
Yeah.
So, got a few things to say. Don't want to take up too much time because you got a lot of good people, good, smart people calling. But I've been following Alabama football since 1960s.
Uh-huh.
This is the worst I've seen them play.
Ugh.
Not the worst I've seen them get beat, but that was less talented teams against better talented teams.
Uh-huh.
And as the gentleman there before said, it all comes down to Kalen DeBoer. He's the head coach.
Yep.
He's the one who's hired these guys. The players weren't ready. The coaches must have taken a 1-week snap. I'm just disgusted by the whole thing. And I got a few things. First thing is that we should consider Nick Sheridan as the interim coach. He's just an interim coach. He was hired. Of course, the Grubb got fired. I'm sorry, the Grubb left.
Mm-hmm.
We needed somebody, and so he went to somebody who he's familiar with. And I think that this is Sheridan's first job as an offensive coordinator. And that's what you get. As far as Kane, and hope we get somebody new next year. As far as the defense, Kane Womack, he's not ready. He's not ready. They did the same thing. They did the same thing Vandy did against us. He wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't prepared for it in the second half. I'm sorry. We need two new coordinators. I'm not saying we're going to get them, but Sheridan he's not ready yet. He's not ready for prime time. Another thing about Jalen Milroe, I hope he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's multi-talented. He's got fantastic physical gifts, but I hope he goes in the draft. Of course, right now he's at best a second-round draft pick, I would think, at best.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows, right? And get back to recruiting. You mentioned something yesterday about recruiting.
Yeah.
Is that how we're getting beat this year in the in-state recruiting? I don't know the numbers, but I know they're pretty bad. And also, maybe you can do the research, or I'll do the research, and see how many recruits that DeBoer's getting from the Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys is he getting from Georgia, from Louisiana, from Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to win in this conference with a lot of homegrown talent.
Yeah.
And that's either from the in-state or from other Southeast Conference schools.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to sound so didactic, and
no,
I'm a nice guy.
To be honest, I haven't disagreed with a lot that you said, to be honest. Rob calling in from Gulfport. I appreciate the call, man. Thanks for calling in, Rob. Have a good rest of your morning.
Okay, too. Thank you.
All right, man. Rob calling in from Gulfport. Yeah. I think, the thing with recruiting too, and these are some of the things that I'm thinking about, is how does this loss impact Alabama in terms of recruiting, in terms of the locker room, in terms of the overall brand, right? And think about this. The last two times Alabama has played teams formerly from the Big 12, they've lost those games, right? So other teams start believing that they can play with Alabama. And that starts seeping into the minds of recruits, right? Into players, into the handlers who are, let's, face it, controlling a lot of these players in terms of the decisions that they make, whether they go into the transfer portal or not. I would imagine that there is going to be an exodus from this Alabama football team with some of the Saban guys that are still left over, them not vibing, them not playing this season. I mean, honestly, let's face it. I mean, if you're a running back in this system, I think you have to think about your future. I think if you're a wide receiver in this system, you got to think about your future. Offensive linemen, the depth, you got to hang on to Michael Carroll. However much money you need to come up with to keep Michael Carroll as an offensive lineman, you need to figure that out. But yeah, Jarvis, I see you, man. I think absolutely, like the negative recruiting, this will be negative recruiting 1,000,000%, right? All right, 936. Hey, good morning. You're on line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on line with and where are you calling in from?
Yo, Kyle, this T. Rich, Lufkin, Texas. What's up?
Hey, what's up, T. Rich? I appreciate you, man. I always love to hear from you, man. Good morning to you. I hope you're off to a good start. T. Rich calling in from Lufkin, man. Come with it, man. Take it easy.
I got a few points, man. Nothing against Milroe. I kind of would have pulled him early because he couldn't get going. Yep. I know a lot of people are saying, okay, is Tyson going to fit this? I feel like Tyson actually fits the DeBoer scheme better than Milroe. And if you didn't see him, he's really elusive. He has legs, and he continues to look down the field. I feel like Jalen Milroe staring down Ryan Williams all night. That's predictable. You think Brent Venables wasn't going to scheme? Hey, we going to make sure he don't get the ball off, but we for dang sure going to make sure he ain't going to get it to Ryan Williams. 100%. Like you said, hey, he's a CFP champion defensive coordinator. Our coordinators are over their head. I know it's more to it because I swear I've been calling for Jim Pruitt forever, but I know it's more legal matters at bay with that. But, hey, Muschamp is out there. He's an analyst, but he's a hell of a DC. And I can guarantee you he will get more out of those athletes that Alabama has because he demands. You need a D coordinator that you can match his energy. You don't think they would match Muschamp's energy?
Yeah.
He's just sitting out there as an analyst, you know. And another thing I heard someone said at one of the podcasts last night, Alabama's will to win is gone. When Saban was there, hey, we still in the game. It don't matter why you start playing.
Yeah.
You see them start shutting down.
Yes.
And they stop playing. And I was like, man, look, this early fourth quarter, we can get back in it. Yeah, we got screwed on the line with touchdown. But we can get – I would have pulled Pritchett. Oh, my God. I would have pulled Pritchett so fast his head would have spin. Nothing against a young man, but, man, hey, put another tight end over there or something. I mean – and another time I seen, like, drop balls. A lot of receivers are jumping to catch the ball when they don't have to jump. Ryan Williams jumped up to catch the ball and they hit a boom. You didn't have to jump to catch that ball, man. Just catch the ball, turn the field, and go. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure they was even playing in different weather conditions. It probably been a little bit colder at Norman than it is. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. Are we, like one of the callers said, are we recruiting these big D linemen from these backwood towns in Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, and Florida? Because we need those 6'5", 340-pounders that's going if you're going to run that 4.25. You know, and it's like you said, I feel like we're going to lose our running backs. Like, Sheridan is not it for OC. I wish A.J. Milroe could come. You know, it's a lot of analysts that we let go that we should have promoted. You know, but I feel like Kane Warmick is kind of over his head a little bit. Muschamp would be an excellent fit right there. But DeBoer should have took over. I feel like he should have pulled Jalen Milroe and Pritchett. We didn't adjust. We couldn't adjust for why do we have offensive coordinator, defense coordinators, and we can't adjust, and our head coach not notice that, okay, we're not adjusting, so something has to be done. I feel like we kind of did play ourselves out of a walk-in into the playoff. It'll be by the, you know, grace of God if we do get in. That's if we beat Auburn because they played a heck of a game yesterday. They gave Texas A&M all they could handle.
Yeah.
So, man, once again, Roll Tide, man, we got to step it up or step it off.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the call, T. Rich. You bring up a point that I want to hit on after I let you go, man. But thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate the call from Lufkin.
Roll Tide.
All right, Roll Tide. T. Rich, before he bounces out, he mentions the fact that Auburn just played a solid football. It takes Auburn about 10 games to warm up. I wish that the Auburn game was at the beginning of the season because for whatever reason, these dudes find their marbles after 7 losses, and you know here we are with them beating Texas A&M. The win is impressive at Jordan-Hare. Coach Saban said that place is haunted. It makes 100% sense why that place is, you know, the voodoo, the haunted, all that stuff. But it takes them about 10 games to find their marbles, and here we are. In the poll I posted, like 60% think that Alabama loses to Auburn, which would be complete chaos. That's why, you know, we start looking at these playoff rankings. Maybe we should just have a graphic right here that just says beat Auburn. Man. All right, 256, let's do it. 256, you're on the line. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up with you, man? This is Jay, and I'm calling from Cracker Bear.
What's up? Did you say your name is Jay? Come with it, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, this is Jay from Florence, man.
All right, man. Come with it, man.
Hey, this is what you get when your coach hire all his buddies to be coaches and don't go and look at the field of available people out there. We got a coach who hired none but his homeboys and people who gonna agree with him all the time. Man, sometimes you got to be with people that's gonna tell you right from wrong, man. And them ain't his real friends, man. I hate to say it like that, but for Nick Saracen to call a defense, I mean for Kane to call his dad his defense, and he knows that defense is not good at setting the edge, that's a problem, bro. That's a problem. When you go and get Nick Sheraton, Nick Sheraton. I think a couple callers ago he said it's his first offensive coordinator job. No, it ain't. He got fired from Indiana because he sucks. You see what I'm saying? You can't go from getting fired at Indiana to coming to Alabama and think you're gonna be the ish. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy. So this is what we get when nothing but homeboy hires happen. And Jalen Milroe, everybody know he should have left last year. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? He's not a good quarterback. I agree with what's your old caller they used to call it, AJ?
Yeah, from New York.
He used to say
yeah.
When he used to say he's a glorified running back or whatever, he was right. He was right, man. That man has no NFL future. I don't know why people keep even throwing that up there. You know what I'm saying? And if he do go to the NFL, he's gonna always be the little gadget quarterback that comes in and runs the wildcat pretty much because he can't throw, he can't read the defense. You know what I'm saying? These are issues that we've been dealing with Jalen Milroe since he's been the starting quarterback. So I don't know, Cal, man. This we was lied to as a fan base, right? Everybody was like, we was lied to, Cal. Everybody was so excited about we got DeBoer. He's such a creative offensive guy. The running game's gonna be back at Bama. This, and this. Man, we ain't seen nothing that we was excited about all year. We ain't seen nothing that made us excited for this hire when he got hired. You see what I'm saying? That's ridiculous, man. To have Jam and Justice. Really, when this transfer portal opened up, we're screwed, guys. Because why would you stay if you was Kendrick Law? Why would you stay? Why would you stay if you was Richard Young? Why? These folks, the coaches ain't giving you nothing to play for. So of course these folks gonna be frustrated. I mean, because we frustrated as fans seeing them not get the ball.
Yeah.
So, no, Kyle. I just wanted to speak my piece.
I got you.
DeBoer, he is not the guy for Alabama because there is a way of winning at Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Mark Ingram ran that ball down people's throat. You know, it's people that be calling in, Kyle. We remember Upchurch and Glenn Coffey and all these older running backs who. Yeah. This is where the game plan started. It started on the ground. Then we were going to run the ball. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. Take it easy, Jay.
I hold it down, man. This is what you get when you hire your homeboys, guys. Roll Tide.
All right, Roll Tide. Thanks for calling in. That's Jay calling in from Florence. 202, you're coming up next. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Yo, if you guys can hit that thumbs up button. I know it's murky waters out there, but I'm a content creator that covers Alabama football, so I need all your support right now because it's a little dicey out there. Truth be told, Alabama doesn't make the playoffs and stuff like that. It certainly impacts people like me who cover the team because nobody. You want to talk about the playoffs or talk about the Mayo Bowl, right? So I appreciate you guys supporting the product always right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Hey, J-Dub, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming from Northwest Georgia. You know what? That Northeast Alabama area and like Northwest Georgia, you start to get into like the Appalachian Mountains. It is such a beautiful area, right? Going up into like Tennessee in that area. I've lived in a bunch of different places, as you know, but I always love going up into the mountains in that area. There was a park that I went to a few years ago. I think it was like Cloudland Park somewhere. I think it was like in Northeast Alabama. And then I went up to Mentone this summer. So beautiful, right? I want to get to the mountains. 202, you're up next. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Zach, a.k.a. Bill Effing Murray in Norman, Oklahoma.
Man, so let me set the stage. This is Zach calling in from Oklahoma. Okay, so earlier this week, Zach called in from Norman. And he told us about the Walmart. Where's the Walmart located? Which highway?
It's on I-35 in Norman, Oklahoma, right at Main Street.
Okay, right at Main Street. There's this Walmart that plays the 2014 Sugar Bowl like again and again and again. That has just changed to the 2024 game last night. He told us that out of all the callers that we had and everybody inside the comment box, Zach told us that this game would be an absolute war and that these guys still had pride in performance. He was the only one to say that this game would be remotely close. So Bill F. and Murray, a.k.a. Zach from Norman, come with it, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I was going to say that about that. Now, up until now, that was the game they were going to play in their electronic section until this one. Now they're going to be playing this one. Yeah, you know, I hated that I was, and when you think about it, I was wrong because even I still predicted that, and I didn't think it would be a blowout. But
Hey, you cut out a little bit, Zach. Try again.
Yeah, sorry. But even I was surprised by that. I thought Bama would have showed up a little better than that. I knew that if we played our A++ game, the best we could play, mistake-free, intensity, that it would be close. You know, maybe a 34-28 game, a 27-20 game. You see, I saw how they played Oklahoma, I'm talking about, against South Carolina, against Ole Miss, Tennessee, and I could see if against how they were playing against defenses that were better than ours and an extra bye week, that how they could find offensive success. And they were starting to do that a little bit, you know, before Alabama. You know, even with Missouri, they got up to 23 points. I said, you know, realistically, if they really work on it, I can see them finding some offense, especially against our defense, which is not as strong as some of those other defenses. But more importantly than that, Kyle, I know, again, I came to college out here in 2011, moved here from Alabama. I know how the hatred, and I hate to use that word, I don't want to get flagged by YouTube or anything. I know how deep that runs in Norman for Alabama. These guys out here, they think that this whole time Bama and the SEC has been winning national titles, that they've been getting robbed because they're in the wrong conference up until they got to the SEC. I mean, these guys, I don't care whether it's Auburn, Tennessee, and it's cliche. We hear it all the time. We're going to get everybody's best shot. We're going to get everybody's best shot. What I was trying to say, and I saw the comments in the section on the chat when I was saying that, saying, you know, I saw the replies, people saying, we get everybody's best shot. You know, we know this, that 2014 game was in the past. But I knew with this team, it was going to be on a different level. With this, it's just the hatred here is on a different level. It's more than your best shot. This team, and I think how badly we lost can speaks for itself. Because when was the last time we lost this bad? You know, that is the shot that we're going to get from Oklahoma, and we're going to get it every year. I mean, if we go into this game, I don't care if they're winless, and we are undefeated. I mean, I'm telling you, if we're not playing with our hair on fire, they're going to get us every time, because that is the culture that Bob Stoops beat into these guys.
Yeah.
And that Kool-Aid, and it just flows. I mean, every year it's every new kid that comes that, you know, that's what they're playing for. It's to beat Alabama now. I mean, we've got a new Auburn on is what we've got.
You know what? And the scary thing is when we're online with Zach is calling in from Norman. I have these stats on the board not to scare you, but these are the facts of the game last night. Jackson Arnold ran for 131. Xavier Robinson ran for 107. You know what's crazy is last year, I'm serious. I'll have to look up the exact numbers, but I think from my memory that Auburn ran for 244 yards last year against Alabama. I would imagine in some way, shape, or form that they are going to have misdirection runs against Alabama this coming Saturday. So I'll look it up. Jarvis, if you're still in here, Jarvis is my stat guy. How many yards did attempts and rushes did Auburn have last year against Alabama? All right, anything else you want to hit on, Zach, before you bounce out?
No, I will say I think I like our chances with Auburn a little better, believe it or not, because I think we got a monumental shot from Oklahoma, and even if Auburn gives us our best shot, I would think that we go in with some better intensity, because even with what a monumental shot we got from Oklahoma, Alabama came into this game flat.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not the game to come into flat. So if they have any pulse, I think we would do better with Auburn.
Yep. All right, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call, Bill F. and Murray, man. Thanks for chiming in. We'll catch up with you next time.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right. Let's see. Last year, 244 yards rushing last year. And let's see. What about the attempts? I think the attempts last year for Auburn, you had Hunter ran 14 for 93. Alston ran for 10 for 85. And Peyton ran 15 times for 57. So last year, Auburn's quarterback, Peyton Thorne, was only 5 of 16 for 91 yards with a touchdown. They're going to do the exact same thing. Army 3275 is saying Gasparilla Bowl, here we come. New Mexico Gasparilla Bowl, book it. That would be crazy. I would love to go back to see some family to cover that game. All right, 404, you're up next. Hey, thanks for calling. You're online with Kyle Henderson. Who am I online with? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. Oh, this is Leonard, man, from Atlanta.
All right,
Can
man.
you hear me, Kyle?
Yeah. Did you say Leonard?
Yeah.
All right, Leonard, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Come with it.
Listen, Kyle, I want to say this, man. I appreciate your show. I know you're a great guy. I know you're an ambassador for the city, for the team. But, man, Jalen, he hasn't been the guy for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you can't. I know you don't want to be the guy to say that live on the air. But he hasn't spread the ball around, and the coaches haven't put him in a position to understand that by passing the ball earlier in the game, it opens up the running at the end of the game when you need to do it. I don't understand why people don't know. Vint Venables is an amazing defensive coach.
Yeah.
Did we not think that he was going to look at the other film, look at what Vanderbilt did, look at what these other guys did, and see that this guy is one-dimensional? We're going to load the box, and we're going to make him throw. Because no one has made him throw the ball to anybody else other than Ryan Williams, he can't do it now. So I blame the wide receivers coach. I blame Sheridan. I blame DeBoer. And I want to say one more thing. You brought up a good point a couple of weeks ago about Mike Locksley. I want to say this about Mike Locksley. He was the best OC we have ever had. He doesn't get the credit because he's a brother, but that's fine. But whenever we talk about offensive coordinators, we always hear about people talk about Sark. They talk about Sarkisian. Mike Locksley was the best. He drove the Ferrari at 180, 200 the entire time. You cannot bring a new offensive guy in who has no experience with an offense like this. This is a career-defining game for a guy like Kalen DeBoer. How do you not take over this game? I look at Kalen DeBoer while I'm watching the game, and I want you to look at the tape. He looks like he's a fan at the game. He doesn't even interact with the players. How are you going to let Milroe throw 3 back-to-back or 2 back-to-back interceptions and not even go over and talk to him? How are you letting Pritchard get beat and you don't even say anything? So, listen, the OC, the defensive coordinators, they got to go. Okay? Milroe, here's my issue with the team. If Milroe is going out there and he's spreading the ball around and guys are involved and they lose, it's different. But he's ball hogged the game. So now you got guys, they don't, like you said, I hate to say it even on the radio, but guys, why would you say, if you're people at different schools now, you're on the phone with your alumni. You're saying, look, we're going after justice. We're going after this guy. We're going after that guy. Look, why would you do that? And you guys saw the game. You saw Justice Haynes moving the ball when he got it. And what did Milroe do? Go right back to running. So I don't know if he was calling the plays or if Sheridan was calling. I don't know if somebody was overriding. But I want to say this, Kyle. I watched Nick Saban, okay? Nick Saban would have called up to that press box and said, look, man, I need some balance here. What's going on? You know, we're not just seeing how good these guys are. We're really seeing how great Nick Saban was because he understands. He just, you know, understanding the culture here. DeBoer just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. It doesn't matter. You can't lose to Vanderbilt. He doesn't get that because he's not in the culture. He doesn't understand you don't lose a game like this on the road. You know, no timeouts called. To call a timeout, man. Get the guys together. You know, and I don't know if it's too much on Milroe, but not being able to progress with the passing. Me and you have gone back and forth, you know, in the comments about Milroe, and I wanted to be wrong. I've just never seen a team that, and I want to say one more thing and I'm going to get off. Football games are won on third down, okay? They're won on third down. All the over-the-top plays to Ryan Williams, they mean nothing to a defensive coordinator. You know why? Because those are low-percentage plays. The play that wins the game is third down, Kyle. Third down. Can your guy make a 7-yard pass across the middle in a window? Can he do it? That's the only play in the game. And I want the callers, I want all the fans to watch the game. That's the only play, the only down that matters. Can your guy make a third down pass 6 yards to 8 yards in a window? Can he do it? Okay? Saban won those championships with game managers. He had a couple great guys, but he always had a great guy, a game manager, who could make a simple 7-yard pass. We don't have that. Milroe's a dynamic. He's a dynamic athlete, probably one of the best athletes we'll ever see. But in this day and age, you have to have a quarterback mind. And I'm going to reference a great example. When you guys watch Colorado, they don't have the offensive line we have. They don't have the skilled players we have. But you know what? Shedeur Sanders is looking to pass the ball. He's looking down the field at all times, even when he's in trouble. And that's why he's so great. If anybody in the NFL doesn't get that guy, they're an idiot. Okay? He can run just like Jalen Milroe. He can run. He can do all that stuff. But the guy looks downfield, Kyle, and he makes plays because he's always looking downfield. Jalen Milroe is looking at Ryan Williams, and that's it. So, Kyle, I love you, brother, and I know we're going to bounce back, but right now it's about keeping those recruits. But, man, we got to get a good OC, and we got to get a handle on that defense. Thank you, Kyle.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Leonard. Leonard calling in from Atlanta. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. 256-334-470. You guys are up next. I appreciate it. We're going a little heavy this morning as it's, a reactionary Sunday following Alabama's. I think I spelt worse. I don't know how I phrased it inside the comment box. I'll get another poll added. But the point I was going to was like, is this the worst loss that Alabama's had within the last 5 seasons? I was going to say 7 seasons or 8 seasons because that's how long I've covered Alabama football. I look back at some of the losses that Alabama had. I feel that because Coach Saban lost some games. And I felt in those games they lost because it was like a weird kick or, something was kind of off or it was tight. The only time that I really saw them get dominated under Coach Saban was the national championship loss to Clemson. And then one time when I started covering the team in 2017, when Auburn beat them down at the barn. And I think that was the same year they won the national championship. Those are like the two times where I saw teams absolutely dominate Alabama. Last year against Michigan, I think Michigan played better. But you know what I'm saying? The game was somewhat tight. I think this year, Oklahoma physically dominated Alabama. And and good point out, Army. They were absolutely outcoached. 256, you're up. Hey, good morning. You're online with Kyle Henderson.
Hey, what's going on, Kyle?
Yeah, who am I online with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Jordan. I'm calling from Talladega.
All right, Jordan from Talladega. What's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Go ahead.
Hey, man, it's just one of those Sundays, man. You sit back and you kind of think about what really happened yesterday. Is it like a dream or is it a nightmare? Or, I mean, watching that game last night, I've been watching Alabama football since I was like 3 years old. I grew up with a granddaddy that was a big Bear Bryant guy. And then you got Saban coming in. I mean, everybody's fussing about DeBoer. You got to give the guy a chance. I mean, the team looked stagnant last night. I mean, you got to give the guy, all the props in the world for what he did at Washington. But this is a whole different animal when you come to the SEC and play people week to week like what Alabama does. But, what you were saying about Ryan Grubb, I think it's a completely different season if Ryan Grubb stays. I mean, he followed the money back to Seattle. He was already there. But, I mean, everybody's screaming about Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson has proven nothing. Nothing at all. If he was as good as what everybody thought he was, he would have already been on the field more than just mop-up duty. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I think when you look to like Ty Simpson, it's like he's clearly not going to like come in and like be the starter. Like that's not going to happen at all. And you start to question like why not? Is he not ready? The offensive line, can they not protect? I have no idea. Last night was actually the first time that I ever saw really Milroe even go down, like kind of be like injured or whatever. And he hopped back up, went out for one play, came back in. The wear and tear on that guy is like 1,000,000%. I mean, he never gets injured. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'm really excited about the future at the quarterback position with Keelan Russell coming in. With that said, and someone inside the comment box was like, he shut down his recruitment. He's 100% in. I'm not believing that anybody is 100% in until they sign that paperwork. I promise you. No,
I agree.
I agree. I am never reading one of these recruiting articles and saying I am 100% in. Guess what's happening? Okay, I know we might have varied off your topic real quick, but guess what's happening this morning? Those kids that have said I've shut down my recruitment. Their parents this morning are listening to the show, are talking to other people, are talking to other people who are recruiting them. And be like, yo, Alabama isn't it? Look at the trajectory of Alabama. So until that paperwork is signed,
you're right, Kyle.
They are going to be like, yo, use your platform. People are already talking about you. You're a 5-star. This isn't it. Come over here. So I'm until these guys are like physically here and like playing, and even that, like remember Julian Sang came out to practice. He was practicing and then he still left to Ohio State. That was crazy. Anyways, I'm sorry. Jordan from Talladega, go ahead, man.
You're exactly right, Kyle. I mean, you look back at the day with Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster was 100% Auburn. Everybody was saying Reuben Foster was going to Auburn. Yeah. They've got him locked up. And what does he do? He flips, and boom, he comes to Alabama, and he's a superstar.
Yeah.
And, I mean, all the Auburn fans are just like, what happened? I mean, so, as an Alabama fan, under Saban, you knew you were going to get high-class recruits. But with DeBoer, right now, he's got to prove himself. I mean, he doesn't have anything other than 2 good seasons at Washington. And how would those seasons have looked had he not had Michael Penix? I mean, because Washington is struggling now. And those are all DeBoer's guys that are there, except for the few that transferred with him. I mean, he's got to prove himself. I mean, everybody calling for his job. Kane Womack, he was a question at the beginning of the season anyway, and Nick Sheridan. But, as an Alabama fan, you look at a season that could possibly be, 8-4, and then very possibly be 10-3, at the end of the season. I mean, I think the ceiling's probably the Citrus Bowl at the end of the year, unless a lot of chaos happens. But, I mean, you look at it as a turnover year from losing the GOAT and Nick Saban. Alabama fans have a ceiling that no one can ever reach other than Nick Saban. I mean, everybody said the same thing about Saban trying to follow in Bear Bryant's footsteps. But, I mean, Kyle, I'm fixing to jump off of here, but, I mean, Alabama fans have got to check themselves and think their season could have been a heck of a lot worse. But, the expectations, they're just going to continue to get high. But, I mean, if DeBoer comes in and wins the national championship next year with Russell, everybody that's doubting him is going to be like, man, I wish I hadn't said some of the things that I said.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Cal.
All right, take it easy, man. All right. Jordan calling in from Talladega. We got a 334 up next. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
How's it going, Kyle? This is Pat calling in from Atlanta.
Did you say Pat?
Pat, yeah.
Pat, what's up, man? Appreciate you calling in from Atlanta. Come with it, man.
Not much, man. Just look, like you said, frustrated, man, from last night, that performance. That wasn't expected. But I think with Coach DeBoer, what I see, man, what I analyze is that on away games and games that matter, like key games that really matter, I really think that when teams come in to play, like you look at the games we played the way that we won, it was games that team really wasn't, I can say, really coming in like with that fire from them, preparing to play like Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And when we went out to play, what's another game we won away? Like the 3 games that we lost, these teams was just like, I guess they prepared. They had game plans that they stuck to, and they was prepared, and they was just wasn't going to lose. They was not going to come out of them games, you know what I'm saying, losing. They dominated pretty much. And I think that Coach Saban had a way of having his players, having his team rather come prepared better to play those away games and play up for those away games than I think Coach DeBoer has done this year with the team. I didn't like the interception that was thrown to Prentice. Prentice had came in on the first drive of the third quarter. He didn't play none of the first half. And I just feel like this whole year he hasn't been getting enough burn. To me, he's been getting enough playing time because of what's the guy that came from Washington?
Jeremy Bernard.
Jeremy Bernard. I feel like he hasn't got enough playing time to me with his production that he's done throughout his career at Alabama. He's always produced, but now it's like you're you know what I'm saying, you're losing yourself. You really don't think you got it, and you let Jeremy Bernard come in, which he's a great wide receiver, but Kobe Prentice is electric too, man. He's a great wide receiver. He hasn't got enough touches to me. But to say that you pick up on a block would not cause an interception is just crazy to me. Is it a tight pass and Ryan Williams didn't come back for the pass anyway? But to put that on, I actually missed that play. But when I came back, Jalen Milroe was fussing at somebody on the sideline. I don't know if that was Ryan Williams or Kobe Prentice. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like Kobe Prentice and the other wide receiver, I feel like number 7, the kid that hurt his elbow that time. That was,
Cole Adams. Yeah,
too.
Cole Adams. Yeah.
Cole Adams. Yeah, I like Cole Adams. I don't know if he injured or what, but I like Cole Adams, and I like Kobe Prentice and Kendrick Law. I feel like Jeremy Bernard got a lot of burn this year, a lot of playing time this year. Just I don't know if he's a good route runner, but I just don't see the electrifying speed. I see he has a nice stride, but I don't see his speed being a K-Law, Prentice, and Cole Adams. I just don't see his speed being like that. And Henderson, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, Milroe only sees Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. That's his go-to. And Quavis as a tight end, he should have been playing more so. When you see him in the third quarter, he had a big third quarter. Quavis the tight end.
I like him. I do like him. Yeah. I do like him for sure.
Quavis. Is he coming back next? Should he return next year? He'll sing.
No. The thing about this, everybody on Alabama's offense can come back next season. I would imagine Tyler Booker goes to the NFL. Robbie Oots and C.J. Dupree are the only seniors. Think about what I just said. So you could have literally all those guys come back. I'm about to show you the stats right now for the receivers, okay? Look at the receiver log right here in terms of production. So Ryan Williams, I don't know if these are updated for this morning, or 11 games, so it is updated. There you go. Ryan Williams, 42 for 804. Jeremy Bernard, 39, 603. Dupree, 16. Look at the next wide receiver in line after Jeremy Bernard. Look at this. You go all the way down to Kobe, who has 11.
Oh, my.
And then look at this. The next wide receiver after Kobe, you go all the way down to Kendrick Lau, who has 10, and Cole Adams, who has 6.
Unreal.
Emmanuel Henderson has 4. Caleb Odom has 7. Rico Scott has 4. That's crazy.
What is this?
Right? That is wild. That's crazy.
Man. And you look at him like I tell people, I said, man, for Jalen Milroe, if you look back at his last 2 years, you have to tell him every week that, man, you know we playing LSU, right? You know we playing Georgia, right? That's what we got. Nah, man, I thought we go to Oklahoma and play. No. We got LSU this week, man. That's if you put in his mind that we playing LSU in Georgia, that brings out a different Jalen. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like we just getting different Jalen every Saturday.
Yeah, I think if Milroe was to come back, I think Kobe transfers. I think Kendrick Lau transfers. I think Emmanuel Henderson transfers. I think that Caleb Odom transfers. I don't know about Bubba Hampton or Jaron Hamilton, but I think those other guys leave. And that is that is if Milroe leaves. What's hard to predict about players leaving or going to the transfer portal is we don't know if Jalen Milroe's leaving or going. You know, we have no idea. And the reason I bring that up, I think that he's leaving. But where do you think his draft stock is this morning if everybody on national TV is talking about Alabama's loss and showing his 3 interceptions last night? Where do you think his stock is going in the NFL draft? It's tanking.
Oh, down.
Tanking. Do you think that Mel Kiper is going to still have him as number 3 overall? The thing that could have saved Jalen Milroe was sustaining and taking these teams to the playoffs, even if they lost in the playoffs, and then having a really good combine. Like last night, for example, like I think he was kind of showcasing his arm by throwing that 60-yard pass to nobody just to almost show his arm strength. You see that?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, Pat, I got to move to the next card, man, but I appreciate you rapping with me, man.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate
all right, take it easy. All right. 470, you're up next. Hey, good morning. You're on line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on line with and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's Chance.
Chance, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Chance from Georgia, right?
Yeah, but I'm actually in Alabama this week.
Oh, really? That's what's up, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we came down here to visit with family.
That's good.
So we're down here. I was watching the game last night. Yeah, I got a few things, man. I want to get out to the rest of everybody else.
Chance didn't know he got the complaint.
So we can talk ourselves off the ledge. I mean, I know that a lot of people are trying to say we need to run the ball, and I agree. But it's hard to run the ball, man, when you're down 3 scores, you know. And the run sets up the pass and all that good stuff. But we're just playing from behind, like almost the whole game. Like they went up to 17. What in the second quarter? Like, it happened so fast, and that just screws our whole game plan up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it totally gets us off script, and we have to fight to get back in it. Like that Milroe pick, I know that one, it was Kobe Prince's fault. He's already come in, already commented on IG and, took responsibility for it. But Ryan Williams, I mean, we have to remember, he's 17 years old. Like he let Oklahoma just bully him for that ball. Like that's just inexperience that he'll get later on. But I mean, it's disappointing. But I don't want to just throw DeBoer under the bus and the whole squad as much as we all want someone to blame. I understand that. I want someone to blame too, but. Man, Oklahoma just decided, like, that happens any given Saturday, that the opposing team says not today.
Yeah.
I don't care how good of a squad you got across there. I don't care how many 5 stars you got. Today is our day, and we're going to win this game. And that's exactly what they did. And it's a shame how Milroe's stock is just dove from what it was after beating Georgia. After beating Georgia, he was like the number 2 pick, and now I don't even see him in the first round going.
You know what? Road Warrior, in with our first super chat. Yo, we've been on for 140. We got one super chat, which I really appreciate. Road Warrior says this. I love this theory. He's like, do you think that Jalen played worse to get drafted by a better team? I love that. You know what? Because you saw what happened to Bryce Young. My goodness, the Carolina Panthers got him, and oh my goodness, that they don't even have an offensive line. I don't know if that was the case, Road Warrior, but funny to think about. What else you got, Chance?
Well, I mean, and the O-line, Pritchett just got he's another inexperienced guy. We lost J.C. Latham from last season, and he locked that right spot down, and now we're just struggling. Our guy will get better, and I don't even think we should make the playoff. I mean, do we actually want to go and get embarrassed anymore? I mean, why don't we just cut our losses, lick our wounds, go back to the drawing board, get our players that we do that are going to start next season, start getting them as many reps as we can. I mean, I hope Law doesn't transfer, but, I mean, you got to go with the ones that are showing what they can do in practice. When you get to game day, that's the ones you got to go with, and I think that they just didn't anticipate going us being down by 3 scores. And I mean, Oklahoma was draining that clock. Every time they had the ball, they was just draining clock. And every time we got the ball, like there wasn't time to run the ball 3 plays in a row and then try to do a shot. And I can't believe that call. Ryan got called back for that amazing touchdown he had, and then they called it back. I mean, that was ridiculous. I don't understand that. I mean, that would have been a momentum shift. At least it would have made it look not so bad. But I think everybody should just keep their head up. I mean, I know it's disappointing. I mean, when Alabama wins, I don't think anybody's more excited than me. And when we lose, I don't think anybody's more sad than me other than the players, of course.
Yep.
But I think we got the right man in position, and in the recruits. I mean, I want players that are locked in anyways. I don't want wishy-washy players. And it's like you said, it doesn't matter who's signs. They could transfer as soon as the portal opens up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. So it's just the landscape of college football. So we'll get who we get. And I think we're in good hands. I think we just are emotional today, and that's okay. We should be able to vent that.
Appreciate the call, Chance. Thanks for chiming in, man. It's good to hear from you.
All right, absolutely, man.
All right, man.
Yeah, you too, bro.
All right,
Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide. Chance calling in from he's usually from Georgia, but I think he's in Alabama visiting family. So thanks for calling in. Thanks for the super chat projects. I appreciate the $1 spot, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Here's the rushing attempts for this team this year. 135 attempts by Jalen Milroe. And then you have Jan Miller at 107, Justice Haynes at 72, and Richard Young at 25. That's interesting that Richard Young almost has as many carries as Daniel Hill has almost as many as Richard Young. Richard Young is a beast. That guy, I can't even imagine what he would do with 50 carries, with 100 carries, right? 662, you're up. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I line with? And go ahead.
Hey, I was you're talking about Richard Young and everything, and I believe that. I mean, I said it at the start. I don't know why he hasn't been running the ball more.
Well,
makes no sense.
Hold on. Let's do this proper. So, who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Ken from Mississippi.
All right.
From Mississippi.
All right, Ken, good morning to you. I hope you're off to an amazing Saturday. Ken from Mississippi, welcome to the show, man. So, yeah, I was talking about Richard Young. So, whatever you want to hit on, man, go ahead. Welcome. It's your show. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was watching. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but on the first drive last night, Milroe had a play. This is like the quarterback draw or zone read, whatever they do with him. If he stuck his foot in the ground, he would have had a 65-yard touchdown. Instead, in some of these games, and I don't know why he does it, he tries to bounce everything outside, and these guys are too fast. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, did you see that play that I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Do you remember that play?
Yeah, I did. And one of the things that really stood out to me last night, it was amazing to see how fast Oklahoma's defense was. Like, they played hungry. They were like wolves chasing down Alabama. They were that, and I think that's kind of that's a preview to what the NFL defense would probably do to somebody like Jalen Milroe. Milroe could not get to the outside. Nobody could. Like, Oklahoma's defense was fast. They were playing inspired football last night. That absolutely stood out to me. And I think, and I keep going back to this game too, is like the game plan. I think the amount of pressure clearly was getting to Milroe, but also the fact that like all these design quarterback runs, they were, who would have thought that Jackson Arnold would have ran, for 5 times as many yards as Milroe? That my head's still spinning about this. I have the defensive stats right now on the board. Jahad Campbell leading the team with 97 tackles. We're on with Ken from Mississippi. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, and the defense, I mean, it was. I don't know if it's the scheme sometimes that we get so far out of position on the run, but it's. We got too much talent to let guys just run for 30 yards right up the dang middle. It just don't make no sense.
Yeah, I know. What Jackson Arnold, 25 carries for 131 yards. Xavier Robinson, 18 for 107. I have to go back to like the stat book to see, when was the last quarterback to be able to run for production like that against the Crimson Tide. But that they did that. And you know what's scary,
100
Ken?
yards?
Yeah, Ken, you know what's scary is I think that Auburn is going to do the exact same thing this coming Saturday.
Oh, yeah, and I'll be there. And that's gonna be worse.
You know what? Because I think Brett. The thing about this too, Brett Venables had to fire his offensive coordinator. Think about this: Oklahoma's offense coming into this game was ranked 117th in the country, and they put together a game plan over 10, 12 days to be able to have a production this, right? Hugh Freeze, look, this guy. Say what you want about him and his character and all this stuff. He has a better offensive mind than whoever Oklahoma's offensive coordinator is. He is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
He is.
No doubt.
That is his one strong suit, is being able to run misdirection, and that is what's terrifying going into this Auburn game. And I don't know the health status. Has there been anybody to update the health status of Deontay Lawson? I haven't seen that yet. Literally, I cleaned up and I got on the show. But that would be terrible. I love Justin Jefferson, but he's not Deontay Lawson.
Yeah, that's true. Jefferson's good, but he's not Lawson. That's right. And when I seen him get hurt, I thought it was his arm or bicep maybe, and then they said it was his leg.
No, the way that I saw it, so what I saw from the TV broadcast talking about Deontay Lawson, he put his foot into the turf, or his leg into the turf, and it looked like it was knee related, but then it also looked like it was cramp related. But if it was a cramp, he would have came back, right? They would have gave him an IV. He would have popped back on the field. But it looked like someone said, I have no, I don't even know if Coach Kevin DeBoer answered yesterday. It kind of looked like maybe like a hyperextension or something like that. Again, I have no idea what he was hurt. And I haven't even read any stories out there on why he was injured, but hopefully he comes back. I love me some Deontay Lawson. Anything else you got, Ken?
Yeah, me too, man. He's one of my favorites.
Me too.
He will smack you. I like him. And, he wants to play. That'll be his last game at Bryant-Denny next Saturday, so he wants to play in that.
Yeah.
For sure.
J-Bick is saying strained calf. So, I don't know. Do you stretch that? Jeff Allen will have a plan in place. Anything else, Ken?
Nah, man, that's good.
All right, man.
And I enjoy your show.
All right. Thank you so much, Ken. Ken calling in from
thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Mississippi. So it looks like someone said, let's see, I missed it inside it. Strained calf. J-Bick is saying it's a grade 3 strained calf. Huh. Does that mean that, like, can you, man, my calves were so sore after I did that 9/11 stair climb at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm serious. My calves have never, and I'm always frequently working out. No. That's climbing up all those stairs. I was in pain. So what is a grade 3? Can you play with that? All right, 832. We got Mike calling in from Austin. Mike, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Kyle. Terrible loss. We're probably out of the playoffs, about 95%, I think, out of the playoffs. But, Kyle, I don't have any problem with our defense. I mean, we can nitpick all day long, but here's my opinion. Oklahoma scored 24 points. Take away the pick six or whatever, they scored 17 points in their own field. Our defense was constantly had their back against the wall because they had no help from the offense. So the defense, I have no problem with that, with their backs constantly being against the wall. They had no help from the offense. They actually only gave up 17 points, which ain't too bad. I repeat that. Okay, so on to the offense. You live by Milroe, you die by Milroe. And the offensive line. It goes hand in hand. Live by a Milroe, die by Milroe. That's the way I kind of look at it. And, I've been saying, Milroe's the kind of quarterback who's going to get you probably to the big game like last year. He's going to get you about 90% of the way there, and that's going to be about it. But anyway, it's 70% Milroe. The rest was the offensive line. Kyle, we just simply got beat yesterday. That's the way I look at it. We just simply got beat by an Oklahoma team that had 2 weeks to prepare. It was a trap game because I want to tell you this now. The week-to-week overreaction is the rat poison leading up to this game.
Yeah.
Compared to 3 weeks ago after the Vanderbilt game. Get on one side of the tracks of the other guys. That's all I can say about that. But anyway, I don't know. This game right here, we just got beat. We just got beat by a team that prepared better, played awesome defense. And looked to me like our defense, they were constantly back against the wall. I mean, yeah, we just got out-coached and outplayed. That's kind of how I look at that. That's kind of how I look at the game. But like I say, bottom line is, man, live by Milroe, die by Burrow, and the offensive line. The same problems that have been haunting us for the past 2-3 years with Saban. Inconsistent offensive line play and inconsistent, I don't know. It's hard to really blame it all on Milroe, but he does tuck and run too fast, partially because of the offensive line. But it was a terrible loss. We just got out-coached, outplayed, and I know I'm probably going to get beat up on this by Bama Nation, but it's a first-year coach, man. First-year DeBoer. I know we had the greatest roster in the world, but I want to remind everybody of the 70-player roster turnover. I didn't really put my name, but I know there's no excuse for losing the Vanderbilt game. There's no excuse for losing this game. I'm not making excuses for the team. We got our butt kicked. Live by Milroe, die by Milroe, man.
100%.
That's all I got to say.
All right, Mike. Call in again all this week, man. I appreciate you, Mike. All right. All
right, man.
All right, Mike out in Austin. We got Angel up in Pigeon Forge calling in next. Angel, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Yeah, welcome to the show. Good morning to you. Angel on Pigeon Forge. Come with it, man.
Yeah, first and foremost, shout out to Oklahoma. They came to play that game yesterday. They came ready to play that game, and credit to their defense too for stepping up and beating Alabama down. And credit they were using the Vanderbilt playbook in that game.
Yep.
But I'm really heartbroken right now and upset because what happened transpired last night in Norman. I knew something like this was going to happen again. Didn't know where it was, and then boom, it happened last night. Man, it's just heartbreaking. And as soon as Deontay Lawson went down and O.T. Overton went down, that's when I knew it was going to be over. Something was up. And Jalen, man, he just didn't play today. He just didn't show up. He played like crap. And I don't know why Coach DeBoer didn't put Ty Simpson in the second half, because we needed a spark. And also that ref too, illegal touching.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
That was crazy, man.
I was throwing a chair down because I was at work, and I'm like, I started throwing the chair, and I was like yelling, cursing like I shouldn't have, but I did. and then my coworker who was actually an Oklahoma fan there was started laughing at me. I'm like, hopefully I don't want to murder this guy here right now. From right now we've seen in this game. I mean, nobody was playing, and C.J. Dupree. I mean, those just passes he dropped those, and easy passes.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Cuevas, man, put him in the game. Bench C.J. Dupree.
Yep.
Josh Cuevas was better than C.J. yesterday.
100%.
And our defense, man, they gave up too much in that game because they lost Lawson, the leader,
yep,
and Jahal Campbell.
Yep.
Why didn't he step up? I mean, Deontay Lawson, man, that sucks for him, man. I really feel bad, and I just feel heartbroken right now. And I feel bad for saying that score prediction yesterday, but man, sometimes you got to eat your words like I'm right now. So
it's all good, Angel. We've all said things. You had the right to be confident in this team. Based off how they had played in the last 3 games, right? You had that was your right. I mean, exactly. I mean, think about who would have ever thought that Alabama wouldn't have scored a touchdown against Oklahoma. So no, I get it, man. We're all screaming like whoever's screaming in the background. That's how we all sound inside.
I'm pissed off more than anything, and I'm disappointed in Coach DeBoer for the accountability that he did not take at the press conference last night. And I mean, he's got to do something where he's going to lose this team in this locker room. I mean, I just feel for this team and Ryan Williams, man. He was robbed. He got robbed.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, he got robbed. Those refs are garbage. We didn't play like Alabama football, but man, we're out of the playoffs. I'm sorry. I hate to say this as a fan. And people attack me in the comment section, will you? Because I'll take the hit. But, man, we're not a playoff team this year. We had the bright pieces and the weapons and just couldn't get it done. I hate to say that. And I guess Dave Portnoy lost his money too, so oops.
Yeah.
So much for that. I'm just frustrated, Kyle. And
maybe they'll take your call this Wednesday, Angel.
Oh yeah, man. But anyway, man, I'm gonna get off the phone, let someone else rant and talk.
All right,
but
brother.
Anyway, Kyle, you have a great day, man.
Hang in there, man. All right.
Let's go beat Auburn next week.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right, good buddy Angel calling in. We'll take a 662. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with? Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Fulton, Mississippi.
I think we can't really hear you. I think you might be on speaker or something like that.
I am on speaker.
There you go. That sounds a little bit better.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Not. Try one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. So, okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Jay from Fulton, Mississippi.
Okay.
I've been watching Alabama for 60 years, and I guess this is the worst I've ever seen Alabama perform.
Ugh, yikes.
Anyway, I said last year when Jalen Milroe was our quarterback, I said, well, I mean, he's going to be our quarterback. We'll never win a championship with Jalen Milroe at the helm. I don't know. Of course, after Coach Saban started in last year and got us to the semifinals, and he lost that game for us. He run in the back of Proctor on that last play there. There's a wide open hole right beside of it. He could have walked in the end zone. But I have absolutely no confidence in this team because of our quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to get worse before they get better. Lord knows I want to win against Auburn this coming week, but I don't have no confidence in that. Not a bit of confidence. Now, they may come out and play great and beat them 20 or 30 points, but who knows what? You know, when you're playing like that, absolutely. I mean, nobody has any confidence in the team. I mean, any of the Alabama fans that I'm around, Nobody. Everybody's looking at it just like I am. And, it's up to Coach DeBoer about all this. Mm-hmm. He's the man that has to make a change. We should have made a change at halftime last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he didn't. I mean, we couldn't have done no worse, I don't think.
Jay,
hold on.
Yeah, hold on. I had one question. Yeah, I had one question for you, Jay. In terms of Coach Kalen DeBoer, you're a longtime Alabama football fan. You've seen different coaches. You've been through different points in time of Alabama football. In terms of Coach Kalen DeBoer, it seems kind of like he doesn't necessarily take a lot of accountability, for what's happening on the field. Do you agree with that, or am I off base? What's your take on what you've seen from him in the 3 losses in terms of his coaching style, or taking any type of accountability for the team's execution or lack thereof?
No, absolutely not. He don't take it. It seems as though he don't take any accountability. And all 3 losses he starts taking up for and making excuses for why we lost.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we lost is our quarterback play. That started out. I knew when the first run Milroe made, I said, this is going to be just like the Vanderbilt game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think Oklahoma had took the game plan that they had from Vanderbilt. And if Auburn does plays us the same way, I don't have any confidence of winning the game. I really don't.
Yeah.
And yes, we've got a problem. Right now we've got a coaching problem and we've got a quarterback problem. So we've got bad problems.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Jay. Well, I appreciate you calling in. Call in anytime, and thanks for chiming in this morning.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.
All right. If I didn't get to your call this morning, I'm sorry. I apologize. I tried to take as many calls as I could. We went 2 hours of venting. I know there's a lot that you want to get off your mind. So I try to make an avenue for that. I will be back live when the AP college football rankings are released. So make sure you hit the notification button so you're subscribed, so and turn on all notifications. That's hitting the bell. It has like a kind of a vibrating bell on it, so you're notified when we go live again. I don't know if I'll take calls. I need to get some food in me and get ready for it. And I know the AP rankings don't matter, but I want to see kind of what the AP is thinking following Alabama's loss, because I think it'll give us a little bit of an indication to what to anticipate on Tuesday. Maybe not. But I like talking about the AP rankings still at this point, and it will be interesting to see where Alabama falls in the rankings. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for rocking with me this morning. Tough loss, embarrassing loss. Not good in the slightest, losing to Oklahoma in that fashion. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I will catch up with you soon. Drop a thumbs up. Appreciate the super chats today as well, and I will be back soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Have a beautiful Sunday morning, fam, and talk to you guys soon.